How are you supposed to fight an enemy that has a vastly superior navy to your own? Well, something could be said for quantity over quality. I'm Commander Tyrael, and this is Ultimate Admiral Dreadnoughts, a game where you must choose a nation, build your own fleet from scratch, and then try to conquer the world, historically or ahistorically. Today, you're going to see my attempt at Kantai Kasen, Decisive Battle Doctrine, the main tenet of which is to draw out your foe, weaken them with mass amounts of torpedoes, and then batter them into submission with superior warships. Will my warships be superior? We can only find out. But it doesn't matter what you plan for, something will always go wrong on the sea. Make sure you hit the like button and subscribe as we jump in to Ultimate Admiral Dreadnoughts. Welcome, my friends. I have proved myself as the Ultimate Admiral during the Age of Sail, and so I thought it would only be appropriate to step up and try the Age of Dreadnoughts. Today we're going to play as the Empire of Japan, which was formed when Japan was united into one nation under the rulership of the Emperor. This event was known as the Meiji Restoration of 1868 and ended the Shogunate period and opened a new era of rapid industrialization and technological advancement. From then on, Japan races to catch up with the Western powers and prioritizes the building of a strong navy to defend her waters from neighboring threats, such as mighty Russia and the ever belligerent Koreans. Today we're going to jump in. I've never played this game before. I've owned it for quite some time, but when I first picked it up, it was in very, very early access, and I basically just played a couple of the training missions and never looked back. Now it seems to have a campaign, and I've chosen Japan. I have a huge respect for the Japanese people, both for their naval building prowess throughout history, as well as their diverse and very unique culture. During the early 20th century, they were a force to be reckoned with, and as if you know anything about history, they were one of the main antagonists of World War II. Of course, now they are a peace-loving nation. We should never forget that they were nearly on our doorsteps. I myself an Australian, so the Japanese were a huge threat to us during World War II. The game sees us as the naval minister of Japan in the 1890s, before the turn of the 20th century. And my goal here is to build 4 ships that will cover the roles of an early fleet. Right now we're building a destroyer, or well, as close as I can get to a destroyer, a torpedo boat hull with lots of torpedoes. I tried to get 4 per side, but unfortunately I was not happy with the weight distribution, and so we've gone for a 3 torpedoes each side, with a rear torpedo able to service either the port or starboard side. We aim for 25 knots as the baseline speed for this class to be able to outrun anything of the era. I'm not sure what sort of ships we're going to face, whether they will be historical or ahistorical. I had a look at the way that auto-generated ships are, and they're a bit of a hodgepodge. So we may fight some very eclectic ships. In the early stages of the campaign, my plan is to just basically pick a fight with the nearest nation that I can. So probably Korea, because they're always been a threat to Japan, and that is sarcasm if you don't detect it. Next up we have the light cruiser. This is going to be a 5-inch gun light cruiser, and its role will be to ward off other light cruisers, as well as engage destroyers and torpedo boats. Sort of the fleet enforcer, if you will. Going through a 3-stack design to try and keep the engine efficiency up. I'm aiming for a standardized fleet speed, so the torpedo boats and destroyers will be the fastest of the fleet, and then the cruisers I'm hoping will stick around 20 knots, and if possible, my battleships will also be pushing 20 knots. That way, I know how my fleet's going to act. I can keep them all in formation. I don't have to worry about engine imports for multiple ships, because I believe this game actually has massive engagements in comparison to the Age of Sail game that we just completed the US campaign for. We're putting 2 5-inch guns on the front, so they will be able to service a little bit of the port and starboard side each, as well as when in broadside. I noticed that this ship actually has slots there for the 5-inch guns amidships. So I'm going to wiggle the stacks around a bit to fit in extra 5-inch guns amidships. It was at this point that I realized that perhaps I won't be able to have a triple stacker, and to get the extra guns in, we had to delete one of these stacks. I don't really think it matters too much. Some of the auto-design ships that I experimented with before I started recording, they had terrible engine efficiency, terrible pitch and roll. So I think in the early stages with low technology, it might not be an issue. I don't know. So anyway, the light cruiser has a 2-inch main belt. It has a 1/2-inch forebelt, 1/2-inch rear belt, aft belt. We have a 1-inch, just under 1-inch main deck, and the conning tower has the same as the belt. I do want her to be fairly sturdy against destroyer fire, so we've also given her a citadel with a 1/2-inch inner deck, which I think will protect her fairly well from light caliber fire, at least from what I know about naval combat. I tried to put some extra guns on the ship. We had a little bit of space to work with, but the 4-inch guns weren't going to fit. And I also think that if I keep my shell calibers homogeneous and the same, then the gunnery should be better, in theory. I don't know. I'm just guessing. This is all just guesswork. So this is the finished product. We've got great guns, gun angles on each side, 5 guns each side, and we are able to use angling and still have the majority of our firepower on the ship. I do like that one of the aft turrets is in a sort of super firing arrangement and has great angles over the top of the turret in front. Next we came up to the heavy cruiser. The heavy cruiser's role, if you don't know much about fleet engagements, is to 1. Fight other heavy cruisers, 2. Beat up light cruisers to support our own light fleet elements, and also harass battleships with large caliber, high explosive if they have the opportunity to. So our cruiser hull is not very good. I couldn't really extend it, and we don't have much in the way of displacement to work with. So we're going to make a super simple design, and she will be an 8-inch gun cruiser carrying 4 guns in 2 turrets. I probably will put a couple of extra guns if I have the displacement, and she will have armor that will protect her from light cruisers and a little bit from heavy cruisers that are carrying her own armament. Putting on the rear mast, that was something I forgot to put on my light cruiser design at the last moment, and it screwed up the whole displacement, but I fixed that by adjusting the armor. I also wasn't happy with the size of this ship because there was no room for engine funnels, but hopefully we can get access to new hulls fairly quickly. The battleship, the Kumano class battleships, will be an 11,000 ton, 12-inch battleship, and it will be similar in design to our cruiser that we just built, the only difference being much larger caliber, and she will have a generous complement of secondaries to protect herself in a close range engagement. Now, I have no idea what costs are good or bad or how much budget I'm going to have, so this is all really blind, and I would appreciate any comments down below that would assist me. I haven't really followed any content for this game. Bit of a lone wolf in that regard. But half the journey for me is learning as I go. The battleship will have good engine efficiency because we have extended the hull by slightly decreasing the draft and the beam. We drastically decreased the size of our torpedo boats, draft and beam, and I was able to extend the length of the hull as a result of that. So I'll keep an eye on it. We did the same here with the Kumano. We extended the hull just a slight amount. We have spacious crew quarters because I feel like I want to have comfort on my battleships. These are going to be high-tech battleships for the era. And I think, judging by the displacement, I'm able to squeeze in about 2/3 of her gun caliber as armor belt. So 12-inch gun, and she should have a 9-inch belt. Generous range of nearly 7,000 kilometers at the end. We put in 6-inch secondaries in the casemates. If we have any issues with weight, I may remove the aft casemate guns as they have poor angles. We have many bulkheads. We add in the Citadel. And one thing that really confused me here is, by the tooltip, I thought compound armor was lighter than iron plate, yet the weight of the ship increased every time I switched the armor. So my initial plan was to have a 10 or 11-inch armor belt, but this broke my plan. For armor scheme, we ended up with a 9-inch belt, a 6-inch main deck, a 1.5-inch aft and foredeck, and I was working under the assumption that the fore and aft decks start when the Citadel ends. And if you look at the ship's unit card, it seems that the Citadel is quite large on the ship because of where the turrets are placed. So I'm making an assumption here, and we just need to hope that no one takes any back shots, because they might slip through the armor depending on the caliber that hits us. And there were some adjustments to the displacement, just trying to squeeze in under 11,000 tons. And I don't know how well the armor is modeled in this game, so we're all making guesses here. So our custom starter fleet consists of the Kasasagi class torpedo boats. If you can split these through a formation, they should be able to dump torpedoes on either side, which will be great. We have the 5-inch gun cruiser, which $10 million, pretty expensive I think, but I'm pretty sure she will enforce the law around our battleships. Then we had the heavy cruiser, which ended up having 4 8-inch guns and 14 4.1-inch guns. So I slightly bored them out, and then we've got 4 1.1-inch guns up on the bridge, just there as self-defense. And then we have the current jewel of our fleet, the Kumano class battleship, running at 19 knots, range of 7,000 kilometers. I'm pretty happy with that design. I think she's expensive. 54 million seems expensive. But I also did not compare her stats to any of the generated battleships. I'm just going to go in blind, and we'll see if our budget can hold up. It is January of 1890. And somehow this gaijin has made friends with the Emperor, and now am put in charge of the Navy. Let's see if we can make a difference, change history somewhat. The first order of business is to send a strongly worded letter to the Chinese Emperor. Where is China? Screw you, guy. Send a message. We need to increase the capacity of our shipyards. We currently have an 11,000 ton shipyard as our max size. I guess we want transports for logistics. And technology and crew training is probably important. We want the best of the best of the best. I have $750,000 to buy ships with, so let's buy 30 torpedo boats. This will be the linchpin of our early tactics, I think. We can just splat anything that's big with these. Even if we lose them, they'll be okay, I think. We only have enough starter money to build 4 battleships. I hope that's enough. We haven't looked at what the other nations have yet. But I'm pretty confident that's a tough battleship. 11,000 tons, pretty heavy, 1890. And that's all we can build. Oh, we're going to go bankrupt. Oh my god. What have I done? I've cooked the campaign before we even started. We have to... oh, look at the tech budget is 25 million. And we're 22 million over budget. So we would have to cancel research. a lot of research, and the crew training will have to go down. I want to stay in the black. We have 5 million to spare. Our fleets are scattered all over ports all over Japan, so I'm going to consolidate them all at Okinawa. I don't think any of the other European powers will do anything crazy. So our only threat is really Russia, as per the law. We have 4 battleships to work with and a swarm of torpedo boats. The Chinese have a pretty mixed fleet, but they have way more ships than us. They have more battleships and more cruisers and more light cruisers. So did they start with more money? We don't have enough money to start any more construction, so I'm just going to have to skip the turn and just hope we get money somehow. Colombia has signed a trade agreement, and we can now sell ships to them. And we can use their warships. We can use their ports as supply centers. And now they want to buy 3 of our torpedo boats. They will pay 25% in advance, and it will provide nearly 100% profit. $8 million for 3 torpedo boats. Sure, buddies, you can have those. That's how we're going to make our money, I think. We really need our shipbuilding capacity up then. We sent raunchy photos to the Chinese emperor, and he's not happy. I tried sending my fleet straight to Korea, but it's not letting me do any attacks. The German Empire warns that their naval... Also, the Russians are going broke. The Spanish are attacking Morocco. Why? What did the Moroccans do? I want to attack Korea. Russia and Germany's going broke. I almost went broke, but I was more careful with the budget. Can I attack Korea? Just launch a naval invasion? Oh, shit. No, it doesn't seem to be a way to do it. Colombia want one of our battleships built, and they're going to pay us $88 million for it. Sure. That's good money. They want our good designs. Relations with the Chinese Empire continue to diminish as we continue to send disgusting photos to him. Colombia's somehow got the funds to spend over $100 million on warships, which is more than we have to spend. But using the Colombian money, we're going to buy ourselves some more cruisers. I think we need light cruisers, just so we can counter any torpedo boat swarms as well. Yeah, let's build the Nyodo class light cruiser. We will build 5. And the budget is now in the in the red, because we built more ships. Why? Like, our GDP is going up and our annual budget is going up, but geez, a bit tight there on the shoestring purse. The Austro-Hungarian Empire are going broke. Battle of Morocco. Sorry guys, I'm trying to take this seriously. But Sunday afternoon here, so I'm feeling a bit merry. Despite that, our provocation seemed to work against the Chinese. They have sent their fleet off the coast of Okinawa, and now a serious incident has happened. A politician was assassinated in cold blood, and they're accusing us. Well, that works exactly how we wanted it to. We could pay them $52 million in extortion, or we could go to war. And they are, look. And it seems like half of Europe agree that that's a good idea, except for the Germans and except for the Russians. But everyone else is like, sure, bro. Fight China. Go hard. Alright. Spanish like us. Austro-Hungarian Empire like that idea. No one likes China at the moment. The Spanish Empire have signed an alliance with the Netherlands. So they're going to be able to sell their warships. Okay. The fleet retreated. What have we? We're just going to move our whole fleet into their area. The Yellow Sea. I hope this works. We've got 4 battleships and 30 torpedo boats. It's going to be one hell of a... So now the United States, the Russians are going broke again. He'll be replaced. So are the Spanish. Everyone's overspending. Shit. Should I be overspending? Alright, look at that. They've got cruisers, light cruisers, battleships, torpedo boats. Let's give them some Kantai Kazen. So it seems like they didn't deploy their whole fleet from what I saw on the mission screen. But look at that! We got some torpedo boats, boys! Oh dear. And they are all in different divisions. Keep in mind, I am a complete noob. I didn't do the tutorial. I did a couple, like, the first couple of harbor missions where you design a ship and try to beat the other ship. But let's see how we go. I've got a pretty good grasp on naval tactics. And we have an absolute buttload of torpedoes to use. Each ship is carrying 14 torpedoes. They have 7 launchers, so that means they have 1 reload each. We have 3 aside, plus the stern one can lead on the first torpedo drop. Where are the enemy? It's head to the southwest. They could be pretty far away. Oh, no, they're not. What have we here? Whoa, what is that monstrosity? It's got turrets everywhere. It's got turrets on the wing. It's got high turrets amidship. Our battleships are already going for it. Why is Zukaku off to the wing? She's following, but still targeting with her division. Is she in a different stance? Right, torpedo boat swarm. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 divisions of torpedo boats. 9 divisions of torpedo boats. Each division looks like they have 3 boats. Some have 4. Shellfire coming in looks like mixed rounds. White and yellow, I'm assuming AP and high explosive. Because that's what I would do to illustrate it. Alright, we're going to make sure that our torpedo boats don't tie up the maneuvering of our battleships. But look, there's the Chinese fleet. Battleships are moving in at a steady 12 knots. We're slowing down just to try and increase our accuracy. The enemy are coming from the sun as well, so that's going to affect our gunnery on them. Sukaku, let's turn her in. Torpedo boats are going to cut across the battleship's path. We're going to form up a line across the Chinese ships as they advance. If they get too close, then we will turn the battleships away and run full steam away from them. I'm going to assume that my battleships are pretty fast compared to those. 19 knots is pretty respectable for the era. The torpedo boat squadron running across now on the port side of our battleship. Shellfire coming in, splashing off the port bow. That's a lot of warships. We know that we've got, 3 to 4 of each ship class to fight. One of our torpedo boat squadron is trying to flank across. We might try and get a cross torpedo in. And you know what I've just realized? Torpedo range is less than 1 kilometer. That is going to prove problematic. Admittedly, I didn't look, but I was hoping for at least 2 kilometers. That's going to put our torpedo boats at some real risk. But I guess we're just going to have to use them as guided torpedoes themselves. We'll just cut through the center of the formation here and try and dump on both sides. But both of the enemy divisions are close enough that we could drop on both sides. Let's turn our other divisions through and cut through the line. We'll use this one here to cut through the light cruisers. They may be in some danger though. The light cruisers being the perfect ship to counter a small ship swarm. especially if they're built right. The battleships are focusing on our torpedo boats. They have recognized the real danger. Let's keep our battleships out of danger themselves. Keep them into a line with the options to turn away into line abreast if we need to. Chidori, you are on a collision path with that torpedo boat. Can we get some fish in the water, please? Thank you very much. We have 1 fish away, 2 fish away. Can we swap sides and fire the other side, please? They should all be ready. Battleships engaging on targets on all sides. Uh-oh. Torpedo boat Kotaka looks like they're on a collision course with this battleship as she gets hit by the fish. Oh my goodness me. We have hit the bow section of that battleship without our torpedo boat just as she goes up with a fish. We have the Fubushi dropping torpedoes at the same target. Seta taking fire, losing engine on fire. Torpedo boat weaving through an enemy swarm, dropping on the starboard side now. Chinese ships are in a disarray. They've had to break formation to get away from this torpedo swarm. We have more to come. Can the boats get out though? That is the question. We've already had 1 chaotic ram. Futami and Kiji straddling the battleship on both sides. Fish in the water, about to hit that same section in the port bow. Futami coming up on the port side, ready for another spread. But she can't seem to turn in time. There's no maneuverability. We're going to hit the same section. The Yuilang, sorry for pronunciation, has sunk. Brutalized by torpedoes and rams. The battleship sister in the line behind has taken fire as well. The heavy cruiser formation is being carved up by the torpedoes, but they're giving good account of themselves. Heavy cruiser torpedoing a torpedo boat Hayase. She's not able to reply. She's already dumped a spread. She's going to sink. With the ones that attacked the heavy cruisers have taken significant losses. Again, ramming the battleships. The Japanese torpedo boat captains just do not care about their lives. All semblance of micro has been thrown out the window. This division over here is engaging the light cruisers, detecting the threat, who have dropped smoke, trying to get away from the furiously fast torpedo boat squadrons. These boats cost us $1.6 million per boat. And if they can take out something bigger than themselves, they've given their worth. They only weigh 275 tons, so they're easy to build. 2 torpedo boats clashing. Chidori is in trouble. Battleships sitting out the back, casually shooting at the enemy as their enemy counterpart are just getting smashed by torpedoes. The light cruiser formation will be a problem. Let's try and get this division out. We can use the enemy smoke to our advantage. Battleship line is nice and safe out the back. We need to watch out for anyone trying to break through our swarm. Unfortunately, the division that attacked the heavy cruisers has done poorly and not survived, but they managed to take out all the cruisers. The battleships are in serious trouble. Torpedo boat here is sinking. Lives for lives. Chidori hanging on. This squadron needs to get out. Alright, so the main fleet threats are taken down. The battleships and the heavy cruisers. Now our battleships should have the pick of the litter for gunnery targets, and we just need to make sure we keep those cruisers away in case they are torpedo armed. We have a few surviving torpedo boats. We will try and extricate them. But we have taken losses. There is no denying that this strategy was casualty intensive. But in terms of tonnage, I think we're trading extremely well. The last Chinese battleship, Hatsukari, dropping fish at point blank range. There's no escaping that. The torpedo hitting amidships below the stack. Fiery conflagration shooting into the air. Hatsukari's trying to get around the bow. Can she drop more fish? She has 2 more fish in the water. Unfortunately, we have duds. Oh no, the battleship's got a prow torpedo. Hatsukari, too cocky. Not ever thinking that she could take a torpedo from a battleship's underwater torpedo tube. I did not consider that they would have those armed. That was a very good shot. Unfortunate luck for the Hatsukari. Kiji, by themselves, squadron and division destroyed. The remaining torpedo boats are trying to turn out and form up into a single division, in which we will loop them around and use them as a screen for our battleship force. We have 2 more here on the wing. Okinoshima is in trouble, taking hits from the last remaining battleship. And the battleship is getting solid hits on her through the nose. Well, that was fast and furious naval combat. Anyone that says that naval is boring has got rocks in their head. That was intense. I lost semblance of micro trying to commentate, but that's okay. We can pause the game if we need to. Perhaps next time I won't bring so many torpedo boats, maybe 3 divisions of 4. That way I can micro them effectively. But that was just like a headlong banzai charge. Alright, this division's managed to get out the back. So we'll loop these guys around the back of the battleship formation. How's... Kiji's doing okay. She's isolated. Let's bring her in to attack this battleship that is now engaging our capital ships. But the oil slick's covering the ocean. It won't be long before that all signs of the battle are gone altogether, beside Flotsam. Kiji's got a brave run here, running bow on to this battleship. Our battleship line is going to turn in to engage the last battleship. We'll bring these guys over to form up with this division. Bring them all together. There we go. It'll take a minute or 2 for them to form up. They are fast ships. Let's turn our battleships into a better line. Keeping an eye on this torpedo boat. She's running in on our starboard side. Kiji is determined to take her foe down. If we can get a good spread out, that's 1 less battleship we have to shoot to death, and we can concentrate on the light cruisers from distance. Kiji, you can do it. 6-inch guns from our battleships are now in range. Kiji's almost in torpedo range. Going to stay out of the bow section of that battleship, as we know now that they have torpedoes. This torpedo boat on the starboard side is at a risky angle. She's closing fast, trying to save her sister battleship. But Kiji is determined. The torpedo boat has 3 guns. We only have 1 4-inch gun. Oh no, we have fish in the water on the starboard side. We can't do anything about it. We've been overpenned. Kiji takes a massive torpedo hit amidships on the starboard side, but manages to drop 2 of her own fish in reply, hitting the battleship amidships. 3,000 damage and flooding has been started. Is it enough to take down this Chinese battleship? She gave her life, and it looks like the Chinese battleship has dropped a stern torpedo as well. Kiji desperately turning to starboard to avoid it. That maneuver only prolonging her demise. Our battleship line are looking good now. The light cruisers have re-engaged. The Admiral in charge of the light cruiser formation did the absolute right thing. Turned away, line abreast formation, dumped smoke to get away from those torpedo boats. And his division was the only one to come out unscathed. The heavy cruiser division was obliterated. The battleships had no idea what was going on. Torpedo boat threat has been eliminated, simply because they didn't have enough of them. We just need to make... Oh, we have one more torpedo boat. This last one that took down the Kiji. So we're going to focus fire on her. Turning away. And we've got our destroyer squadron on their way back. As fast as they can come. We're going to turn the battleship formation away. I'm not liking those light cruisers. If they're torpedo armed, that would be extremely bad for us. And we are not running at full steam either, for gunnery purposes. I'm also hoping to try and get them out of the sun, which is affecting our own gunnery. We've had hits there on the enemy torpedo boat. Large caliber shells unable to make contact with the light cruiser. Actually, I'm really worried about that light cruiser. It looks like it's coming in for a bow-on torpedo run. Kumano may make it away, but the rest of the ship's formation aren't going to make it. Unable to break them away individually. This is just a skill issue on my part. The torpedo boat is sinking, that large overpen, doing a lot of damage to the hull. So now we just have to worry about these light cruisers that seem to be on a bearing to drop a torpedo. I'm hoping they have the same constraints in torpedo technology. But I really need guns on that right now. We need all battleships to be firing on this light cruiser. It is a priority threat. The torpedo boats are coming in nice and fast. We may be able to get some fish out, or at least block this light cruiser from their approach on our battleship line. Yodohashi has a big ask. She needs to catch up to this light cruiser and stop her from doing what I think she's going to do. We're turning away Kumano, but it's going to cause some trouble for the rest of the line. She's on a direct intercept course for our torpedo boat. We're almost in torpedo range. We're just going to angle ourselves for a better launch. We're waiting for the best probability to hit. When are you going to open fire? Now? Drop the fish. Drop the fish, drop the fish, drop the fish, drop the fish. Drop the fish. Drop the fish. Oh my goodness, drop the fish. Oh, you're going to be done. Oh no, now they've dropped theirs and there's no way for us to dodge that. Slicing off the bow of the Yodohashi. She's dropped the fish now and they're running on the wrong course. Oh, what are you doing? It was enough to block the Chinese cruiser's advance, and she did waste a fish that she could have used on a battleship, so I guess that was a good trade. But that's not how we wanted that to go. Otari, you are up. Your job is to take the next light cruiser, who is no doubt on the same mission. Our own fish are out. Using just normal stance for that. She is turning away to dodge, but our ships have more than one launcher, and they've staggered their launches. 3 direct hits on the light cruiser, nearly 10,000 damage, and a 4th fish coming in to seal her fate. But unfortunately, the light cruiser has managed to launch her own fish, and Otari unable to stop or avoid it in time. Can we drop the starboard fish before she sinks? Looks like the bow has been sliced clean off. She has dropped the starboard fish on the enemy light cruiser. It's a dud. And so her luck has ended. Battleship line is turning away really well. We have another light cruiser coming in. Well, let's move to intercept them. I really am running too fast, I think. Our ships have no maneuverability whatsoever. Maybe that's due to the way I built them. But those things do not want to turn. They're like cruise missiles themselves. Light cruise is not having any of that. She's dropped her smoke. She knows she's in trouble. We still have one remaining enemy light cruiser that is now no longer engaged. We'll come on the starboard side. Trying to run behind her so she doesn't hit us with a fish. Sharp angle to her. We've got no maneuverabilities. Turn that rudder, boy. We've got fish in the water off the starboard bow. Our own fish are away. Lost in the trail. Oh my goodness. This is just a huge skill issue. Lost another torpedo boat. Knife fighting. That's going to be our priority. We need to upgrade our torpedo range stat so we don't have to knife fight. If you've got any tips for how to make my ships more maneuverable when they're running at full steam, also let me know. Or is this just an artifact of the game? After playing Age of Sail for so long, I'm kind of used to more responsive ships, despite them being sailed. Oh well. We're going to chase down this light cruiser with the last torpedo boat, the Toba. 0% hit. Tomazuru has sunk. We have 2 torpedo boats remaining. The last of our battleships is turning away, and we now have them on our starboard side. 3 light cruisers remaining. Okitsu, your life for the cause. What? Overpen. That's a small fire and some flooding. Oh, what? That is catastrophic. I think it slipped through outside the belt armor. And then the small fire has caused the entire magazine to blow the fore turret off the ship. I don't think that ship is long for this world. Okitsu has torpedoes out on one of the last remaining light cruisers. Can she get her port side torpedoes out too? The light cruisers have responded as they do with a torpedo that just seems to run straight and true. But in this case, Okitsu has managed to dodge it. We've made 1 contact with the enemy light cruiser. The last battleship in the formation there must have got hit at a really bad angle. Is there any way to know? We're making sure we're targeting the closest enemy. Look at her. She's wrecked. Suikaku. Thank you for your service. That is an expensive loss. $54 million battleship. I was hoping to keep them safe, and it looks like we've lost in the log there. It seems we were hit by a 7.1-inch gun at 10:43. And then at 10:49, the main gun exploded catastrophically. So 6 minutes later, whatever damage that shell penetration did, the overpen, it was enough to destroy the ship. Overpen on the light cruiser. Fish out on her starboard bow. She seems to be injured, and now she's turning back to port, so she's going to take that right under the bridge. Just a first stack. That's a solid hit amidships. Unfortunately, I'm really sad about that battleship. That should not have happened. We were super careful to keep those guys out of direct combat. We had this guy on the ropes. Massive overpen there with the 12-inch gun. These things have no armor whatsoever. She's on fire, broken rudder. Zuikaku, Zuikaku, no! But the other 2 cruisers are now well out of dangerous. So we should be able to shoot at them with our leisure. Big overpens there on the close range cruiser. I think they're flying through the funnels. We just want to stay out of her port torpedo arc. She has a long time until they're reloaded. We still want to stay behind her. Ooh, big hit there from the 4.1 inch gun on the torpedo boat. Sorry, it's not a 4.1 inch. It's a 4 inch, but it's very short. Very short barrel. Can we get another fish off before this thing gets away? We want to finish it off. Big hit there again. Fish away. And that one just to finish her off. She was already sinking. Now the battleships are engaged with the cruisers outside of their own effective range. We have won the battle. Now, I would have said that was a decisive victory, but we lost a battleship. So, what do you think? Was that just a victory? I mean, 54 million is not cheap. Hopefully the Colombians will give us some more of their money. They seem to have a lot of it laying around for some reason. Toba. Come on, let's get in there on the last torpedo boat run. We can't have any torpedo boats coming home, sorry. She has 8 torpedoes left, and they are fully loaded. Turn the time up, the speed up. Not super happy with our battleship's gunnery. We haven't seemed to hit much. If we do this right, we should be able to kill both. Oh no, they fire first. No. Okay, so we're going to have to come up with a new tactic for that. Maybe as we're coming into attack, as we launch the torpedo, decrease speed for a few seconds. Or vice versa. So that torpedo boat, the Toba, managed to take out one cruiser for her life. Those are pretty good efforts. Will the last cruiser get away? I don't want her to get away. This has to be a complete defeat. All ships targeting the cruiser. All switch to HE. Alright, there we go. Now we just have to wait for them to shoot her down. She's half flooded. She's taken some critical damage throughout the fight. Now put it on the smoke generator. I thought my torpedo boats would have smoke generators. So I was sad that they didn't. Oh no, our battleship's on fire. Don't really want to take any more hits with the battleship. Can't really afford to lose one just to trade with a light cruiser. Finally get some hits. We're trying to get into closer range so we can use those extra weapons, but she's just a little bit too fast. Starting to get hits now though. Shoot at her enough. Got 11% chance to hit with the 12s and a 7% chance, but now she's sinking. Battle over. Well, let's have a look at the carnage. Ship sunk, 20 losses to 14 Chinese losses. Our victory points, we came up with 26,000 more. And we have a third of the crew losses. But I wouldn't say it was decisive. That was pretty crazy. If you want to see more of these battles, let me know. For now, I'm just going to make this one solitary video. If I can get enough likes and enough interest and comments down below, I'll continue making them. And maybe you can teach me a thing or two. I'm Commander Tyrael. Catch you next time. Well, I guess it was decisive because we killed half the Chinese fleet and now they want peace. Peace out.